Hey everybody, let's take 5 minutes out of our day and meditate on God's Word together. The kingdom of Jesus brings so much. It shows us that Jesus has authority to cast out demons. He has authority to heal the sick, heal diseases. He has authority to forgive sins, something that only God can do. But that's not all. Jesus even has authority over death itself. In Matthew chapter 9, verse 18, we read, "While he was saying these things to them, behold, a ruler came in and knelt before him, saying, 'My daughter has just died, but come and lay your hand on her, and she will live.' And Jesus rose and followed him with his disciples. And behold, a woman who had suffered from a discharge of blood for 12 years came up behind him and touched the fringe of his garment. For she said to herself, 'If I only touch his garment, I will be made well.' Jesus turned, and seeing her, he said, 'Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well.' And instantly the woman was made well. And when Jesus came to the ruler's house and saw the flute players and the crowd making a commotion, he said, 'Go away, for the girl is not dead, but sleeping.' And they laughed at him. But when the crowd had been put outside, he went in, took her by the hand, and the girl arose. And the report of this went through all that district." You thought your days were full. Look at what Jesus had going on. Going about teaching and doing great things. And he's approached by a man to raise his daughter from the dead. And on his way to raise the dead, he's interrupted and heals a woman with this issue of blood that she's had for over a decade. That's an amazing day that Jesus had. But he took time for all of them. These stories show remarkable faith and remarkable power. Remarkable faith on those who come to Jesus, and just remarkable power by Jesus. First of all, you have this man, the ruler of the synagogue. Matthew tells us that the ruler already knew that his daughter was dead. So he still asked Jesus. Even though he knew she was dead, or maybe as good as dead if she was so on the fringe of death, but he comes to Jesus and asks him anyway. I don't think you just see the desperation of a father who's about to lose or has just lost his daughter. I think you see the desperation of a father who trusts in Jesus. This guy, as a ruler of the synagogue, held a certain prominence in their society. But he put all that prominence aside and came and knelt before Jesus, put his trust in him. And King Jesus came, took her by the hand, and brought her back to life. And then, on his way to do that, there was a woman who had this menstrual flow that renders her ceremonially unclean, but she had it continually for 12 years. So that meant that everything she touched, everything she encountered, everything, chair she sat on, everything became unclean. She couldn't go to worship. And she couldn't be around people for 12 years. Not to mention just the effects that would have on a woman's body physically. And she's been through all this. And this is not a woman who is just desperate, even though, like the father, I'm sure she was desperate for relief. But we see a woman here with such faith that she believes even the fringe of his garment can heal her. Sure, maybe that's kind of a mechanical view of faith, but she had faith. Being close to Jesus is what I need. In both cases, Jesus shows great love and great power. From the ruler to the excluded, the woman with the menstrual flow, Jesus offers grace and healing. And he offers the same power today. He conquered death. He frees us from death in our lives, frees us from the fear of death by freeing us from sin. Try as we might, we can't avoid death. It's going to come, but Jesus can reverse it. What lies ahead for us is, what will you do with Jesus? He has this power. Will you come to him in faith? Will you release your desire for control and recognize you need help? Will you humble yourself and come to Jesus, knowing that even the fringe of his garment can heal you? Jesus wants to heal you. He wants to forgive you. He wants to raise you. But he has a very important question he needs to ask you first. We'll talk about that next time we Take 5. I'll see you then.